One of my favorite franchises of all time is Bioshock. It's one of the most unique first-person shooters of all time. Not only does it have one of the most unique takes on the first-person shooter genre, but it also has some role-playing elements into it. Today, I want to take a trip back to 2007, and we're going to take a look at the first Bioshock. Bioshock was first released in 2007 for Windows and the Xbox 360, and was later released in 2008 for the PS3. It has been hailed as one of the greatest games of all time, and if you've played it, you would probably agree. The story, the characters, the atmosphere, everything about Bioshock is top-notch. If you played System Shock 2, you'll be very familiar with this because a lot of the guys who worked on System Shock 2 also worked on Bioshock. It's also one of the first games that comes to mind when people discuss video games being art, because this game is art. This is the best movie you'll ever play.
They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
It's a shame to have to talk over this intro because this is one of the most legendary moments in gaming. Everyone who ever played Bioshock always remembers this scene. This game had left a huge impact during the 7th generation. Just a huge impact on gaming itself because nothing like this was ever seen before. This proved that consoles at the time were capable of amazing things. I remember getting above the water and just being amazed by the water physics and fire physics. Sure, nowadays they look dated, but they still look pretty good, and by 2007 standards, they were incredible. Going back and playing through this game again made me realize how good this series really is. It still holds up to this day, and there's a ton of iconic images in it, like the lighthouse. This intro totally immerses you into the game, and from here on out, it stays like that for the entire game. I thought about explaining some of this, but I think I'll let Andrew Ryan take over for me for this one. He's easily one of the best characters of all time.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
The game just pulls you into it without letting go, because when you start this game, you want to finish it. You want to see what happens in the story. Right after this scene, you come acquainted with a very memorable scene, at least to me.
Spear's coming up now! Johnny, security's banging off all over. Get a move on!
Please, lady. I didn't mean no trespass. Just don't hurt me. Just let me go. You my gun.
Is it someone new?
Bioshock has the perfect blend of action, exploration, and even a little bit of horror. I mean, some of the enemies in Bioshock are downright horrifying to see.
Just a bit further. How do you like that, sister? Now, would you kindly find a crowbar or something?
What makes Bioshock unique are the plasmids. Plasmids are basically superhuman powers. You know, you're able to shoot lightning out of your hand. You're able to light people on fire with the snap of your fingers. You can freeze them in place and shatter them into 1,000 pieces.
Steady now. Your genetic code is being rewritten. Just hold on and everything will be fine.
Look, Mr. Bubbles, it's an angel. I can see light coming from his belly. Wait a minute, he's still breathing. It's alright. I know he'll be an angel soon.
Right there. Give him the combo. Zap him, then whack him. 1-2 punch. Remember, the 1-2 punch.
Now, if you want more plasmids, you're gonna need Adam. And I know what you're asking. What's Adam? Adam is a genetic currency that you use to spend on plasmids, gene tonics, combat tonics, and all sorts of stuff to upgrade your character. When you have enough Adam, you go find a vending machine that's called the Gatherer's Garden. This is where you can buy new plasmids and upgrade your character.
1 and 32. Wait.
Plasmids changed everything. They destroyed our bodies, our minds. We couldn't handle it. Best friends butchering one another. Babies strangled in cribs. The whole city went to hell. If you spot a splicer in the water, hit him with the electrobolt.
Now, the way you get Adam is by rescuing or harvesting little sisters. Little sisters are little girls that have been kidnapped from the surface. They're genetically altered and are conditioned to get Adam from corpses from all around Rapture.
That's the Big Daddy. She got it on him. He keeps her safe.
Little sisters are always accompanied by their big daddy. Now, a big daddy isn't really their dad, it's a slave. They have also been genetically tampered with and are forced to keep track of the little sisters, make sure they don't get hurt, Now, I mentioned before that you can either harvest or rescue the little sisters. If you rescue the little sisters, they turn back to a normal little girl, but you'll get less Adam out of it. However, if you save enough of them, you'll get rewarded for it. But if you harvest them, you pretty much kill them, and you get twice the amount of Adam that you would normally get if you rescued them.
No! 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 Thank you.
There are multiple endings in Bioshock, and depending on what you do to the little sisters actually affects the story, which is something that at the time was very revolutionary. Also, I have to mention the soundtrack. Both the licensed soundtrack and the original soundtracks are phenomenal. Especially the licensed soundtrack. You feel like you're in the world of Rapture because it takes place during the 60s. I love all the little details that they threw into Bioshock, especially when you walk by vending machines. They all have their own little jingles and sounds to it, which makes it even more immersive.
Cry out for Big Daddy's help. Make him think you're a little sister. Watch as he fights to protect you.
Welcome to the Circus of Value.
You can also hack things in this game, which is really fun to do. When you hack turrets and security cameras, you're able to have them fight for you. The world of Rapture is still an incredible place to explore. It has a very 1930s style to it, which I love. The place is in shambles, but it's still an awesome place to look at. I'm still finding new things and new places to explore. I also love how creepy it is. You'll hear disturbing images and creepy sounds in the distance, all that's surrounded by a foreboding atmosphere.
What can I do with this one, Aphrodite? She won't stay still! I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong! That was too fat! This was too tall! This was too symmetrical! And now, what's this, goddess? An intruder! He's ugly! 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 Ugly!
You can also collect audio logs, which really helps enhances the atmosphere, and also gives you a bit of a backstory on what Rapture used to be like.
Adam presents new problems for the profession. As your tools improved, so do your standards. There was a time I was happy enough to take off a ward or two, or turn a real circus freak into something you can show in the daylight, but that was then, when we took what we got. But with Adam, the flesh becomes clay. What excuse do we have not to sculpt and sculpt and sculpt until the job is done?
And that was my review for Bioshock. You need to play this game. Like I said in the beginning, it's the best movie you will ever play. I didn't talk about the story too much because I love it so much that I want you to experience it all for yourself. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in another video. Oh yeah, would you kindly play this game?